a demonstration of a CDEX test script. If you'd like to know how to register and set up and navigate to the test scripts or through the test scripts, there's a nice video that the Aegis team from Touchstone has put together that is linked in the CDEX track. So take a look at that. Okay, so we're going to get started here by starting with a simple test. The first test is going to be the CDEX direct query test script. And we're going to go ahead, and there's several of them down here. You can look, if I scroll down, you can see there's multiple test scripts. We're going to start with the first one. Now this one is basically a patient query on condition, and it's going to be in JSON form. We're going to search for all conditions that are active, recurrent, or in remission for a known patient. And these tests that are in CDEX for direct query, these searches are all basically circumscribed by US core. So the searches that are described in US core are the ones that are in scope for the CDEX direct query operation. Okay, so we're going to set this guy up. So again, we have the definitions here. If you look on the left side, the next step up is test setups. So when we set this up, it'll go to test setups, and when we execute, it'll go up to execution. And you'll see that in a second here. So what we're going to do is we clicked on this one. We're going to just do one test setup. You can do multiple if you wish. We're just going to do one. Okay, so create that test setup. We're going to go ahead and create the test setup here. Again, you notice on the left-hand bar, it's moved to test setup. And we have done this before, so we have some, it's kind of sticky. You'll see the last values we put into these settings. If you want to reset or clear them, you can hit one of these buttons up here. You can save. We're going to execute in a second. We're not going to save this, but I do want to mention that at least in my context, these are sticky. They don't go away. This, for example, this destinations file server. There's many to choose from. For the CDEX test scripts, I'm going to recommend using either the CDEX provider or the CDEX payer, depending on, or the submit attachment, which is down here. There it is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So those are the ones you're going to want to stick to when you're doing the CDEX test scripts or running or executing test scripts for CDEX in the Aegis Touchstone application. The client in this case is going to be the Aegis client. That's fine. And then we have a patient variable that we put in here. We know this patient exists because I've run it before. If you want to find patients, you have to know them a priori, or you have to go and do a search on the endpoint and identify the patient. So that's kind of out of scope for this discussion, but we do talk about a little bit in CDEX about how do you find patient fire IDs or business identifiers. It's another way to do it too. Okay, so we're going to run this test. We're going to run this test by hitting execute. The test script, by the way, is defined here, and if you want to examine that, you certainly can. This is actually all the details in an instance in the XML format, which is one of the Fire over-the-wire formats. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute this guy. Now, I mentioned that test scripts are displayed in XML there. They're actually kind of, when we run this, we see we got success. And when you start clicking into the details, for example, it's passed, so we go click on the status button, it's going to start drilling down into some details here. So here's where really your test script is also defined in a nice readable way. It's rendered nicely here in the Aegis Touchstone application. So we have some rules here, we have some variables, profiles, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's click on pass again. So we're drilling down. Again, I clicked on pass once. We're going to click on pass again, and it's going to give us all these really deep, specialized details that reflect the test scripts. We have all these asserts. Things like, for example, assert that the search returned at 200. Okay. Assert that it's returned a bundle of type search set. So it actually looks and inspects the bundle type, makes sure it meets all the criteria we're expecting. Here's the profiles that it's going to validate against. We have some variables here, and here's another rule. So we'll sort by path, and so we got that nice path. And then there's some validation rules. So it does do some validation as well. So if we go ahead and scroll over here, this is pass, so let's go a little deeper. Oops, we're going back. Sorry, we're going backwards. Let's go forward here. Let's go here. Let's go to these more buttons. All right, more. Always look at more. And so here we have the details of the search. It gives us the the submitted URL, so we can see the search URL string needed to collect the information we ask it to, the conditions for this particular patient with these particular clinical statuses. And if we scroll down here, we see all the response headers as well as the body down here. So we actually can see a pop-up comes up, shows us the response body. And that response body indeed has been validated by the validator here. So validate against the user's core condition profile, and of course, if you look at that, we get the validation results here. So everything passed. That's really great. And now next time, in the next video, we'll look at a task-based query using Touchstone.